Welcome, everyone. I am super excited to introduce you to Eva Espinosa, who I met, I would say, 2 weeks ago by chance on Superhumans Network. And this is a network that was created by Tobias, who's actually a speaker as well on the summit. And I'm just so happy to have met her because she brings so much light, so much sparkle, so much joy for life, and is a supporter of transformation. And that's why she needed to be on this, because this Spiritpreneurship Summit is about transformation, is about finding who we are on the inside and expressing it on the outside. And she will tell us how she's doing it. She has found hair as a tool for transformation. She has found a way to connect what we relate to hair and is more than just hair. It's more than just something that we carry on our heads. It's actually even deeper. It's rooted into our heads, but it's going even deeper into our bodies. And she will shed a light on how they're connected, how they grow together, and how it actually has a psychology itself. And I'm just so happy to have somebody who brings this part of us that is a regular thing that we don't even think twice about, to really shed a light, to just give more insight of what it means to carry hair on our heads, more than just the pretty things that we might think or not. So she will tell us a little bit more how she sees it, what she learned, and how she found this gift that we carry with us. And the reason I mention it to be a way of holistic healing is because anything that I see as transformation as we develop ourselves is a holistic healing. It's a healing from the inside out. And I'm very curious to see what Eva has to bring here and share with us today. Welcome, Eva, to be here with us.
Namaste. The sacred within me welcomes the sacred within you. And I want to thank you for this amazing introduction and opportunity to be here with you in this 5 days challenge you have created. But also I want to thank to everyone who may be watching us live or may join us later for taking the time to show up and to be part of this conversation. So thank you, everyone. And I do really believe that transformation is the way of living in a way, and we are constantly transforming, and not necessarily intentionally, because I think many of us resist that transition that we have, and we have issues with with changing, with moving, with letting go. But yeah, I totally believe in transformation, and hair is just an incredible easy way to create that impact a lot faster than perhaps we can create it within ourselves. And I guess that's kind of like where I find two things, because I know you wanted to understand how this journey for myself in hairdressing have helped me to become the person I am and to get to this mission that I have to use the ritual of hairdressing for meaningful transformation for individuals and communities. And I think there was something quite beautiful reflecting on your question, that I never thought of becoming a hairdresser. Hairdressing wasn't part by any idea of myself, and less my family. And it's I think hairdressing still is part of a bit of a taboo for many of us. It's kind of like something that you in education is being left for the hopeless, and even I think is connected with that relationship we have to our hair. There's something accessory that we don't care, and there's a lot of taboos around that I think I have encountered in my journey to become a hairdresser and to be a business owner, and to also develop this way to bring to hairdressing spirituality. So I know that the two speakers of today did an amazing introduction, and they already laid the floor for two of my favorite subjects, which was like fashion and yoga, and I think they are very much connected with what my type of hairdressing is, and because our hair lives within us in our body, and the same way that we have to understand our body's abilities, we had to understand our hair ability, and I think there's a journey that many of us go against, because there's a lot of preconceived ideas about what hair should be or do for us.
Yes, this is wonderful because it's like you said, it's something that we brush to the side. And as you mentioned, it's, you know, there are expectations in a way of us to carry out a certain profession, a certain way of living, because we have accept, you know, we envision something for ourselves, for others, what is appropriate, what it isn't. And I feel like you just making it clear that everything that we choose to do can have a mission or something more insight than we think it is. So it might be just a superficial idea of like, well, why would you want to be a hairdresser? Like, what's the point of becoming a hairdresser when it's not really seen as something special? Like, we want you to be something special. But I feel like you know, like I said before, you're shedding a light on a profession that has more to say than not. And so, what is it that you found out when you tapped into this profession?
Well, first I found out that there was a barrier between what we call higher education and hairdressing. I felt that it was a journey where perhaps people joined to it very early in their lives. I wasn't that young when I became a hairdresser, and I have an experience in a university before, but I could, in reflection, I can think about people that join at 14 or 16, and it is quite interesting because the community and the salon where this young person work is going to be a very crucial element of shaping this young person personality, not only to give them the skill but also to promote in a way of modeling, you know, like what is success. Because you know, when you are young and you're working with people that have a skill that you don't have, you also are impregnating yourself into their values, in how they live life and how they communicate with you. And I really felt that there was a very sort of egotistic experience in hairdressing, that the younger people are not really being educated to perhaps thinking the skill of hairdressing takes such a long time to acquire, because you can be very good at technical, but the most important thing about hairdressing is how you understand and perceive the other person. So it is crucial to have a really, I would say, to be a successful hairdresser, you have to have a strong skill, but mostly you have to have this ability of making people feel good with themselves. And that comes to lots of aspects of, like, I think for me what it really helped me to keep growing in the profession was really to I found the first spiritual guidance of yoga or Ayurvedic spirituality through one of my mentors, Horst, which the surname is impossible, but he was the founder of Avida, and actually Avida is a company that really took a strong stand into environmental missions, and he did this based into well, one oil spill that there was in America, and it was one of the first companies who made this mission and really propel this idea of environmental businesses, and like no parabens, no. So it's incredible that when we look at hairdressers, we look at that tiny salon or the person that cut your hair, and we may not be that interested on that. But then when you look at those type of movements, they were actually started for someone who at the very core of himself was a hairdresser and understood that, and there's a lot of chemicals that people were putting into their bodies, and as a result of that, he understood that to source products from nature, we needed to create an environment that took care of those people that cultivated. And he wasn't one of the first person who connected with the tribe in Amazons, where they create the uruku, which is what they use for the makeup and pigments. But he really brought that idea of weaving and weaving something beyond beauty. So he was definitely a mentor I never met, but his vision of hairdressing brought to me the chakras, brought to me aromatherapy, what brought to me the sensorial idea of what can be a ritual for hairdressing, tailor made for something bigger than just have that hairstyle. And then another of my great mentors is Vidal Sassoon, which is also someone who really is key to my idea of hairdressing, because he obviously was the man who created Wash and Go. So, but now he sounds a bit fun, but actually in the 60s when he did that, women were really used to have like really big hairdos, and pretty much like you can imagine, if I remember my grandmother just going out with rolls to bed and the nets and the whole thing, and you can imagine how strict that will make a woman to be, as soon as you are active, or as soon as they have children like our grandmothers did, you were kind of off the being the lady, and he just brought this idea of the wash and go. And but also he was someone who came out from a very humble beginning. He was an orphan, and he really realized that his transformation was key to his success. He wanted to be an architect, and he was in love with the Bauhaus, and he couldn't just at that time, because he didn't have funds, and he was into London that was half destroyed, to become an architect. So he translated the concepts of the Bauhaus into haircutting, and that is very much the technique that we have. And with the wash and go, he revolutionized women, the miniskirt, and the movement that took like the pop culture from here, from London, from the UK, it took over France, where it all was about being princes and these big gowns and this idea of wealth. And so definitely Horace was the first person that came into my rescue, because I personally felt that hairdressing was quite dull, and I didn't have like a mentorship that was catering for my personal needs. I was alone in a new country. I didn't really speak the language, and like you don't earn much money when you go through apprenticeship, and it was a hard journey. But these two people at different times later on, I couldn't pay for the education of that Sassoon offer, but I managed to become a translator for the academies. So I was just kind of like part of the academy, where there's a lot of incredible artistic directors and creators, and I was translating for Spanish, students, and just getting that information for free. And really, it wasn't until I started working in my own journey as a business owner that I managed to weave those elements in a very personal way. and it's been a long journey, and my journey of transformation is always kind of like been based on learning, like learning and reaching low moments. I went through a really bad partnership in my salon when I started, and that pushed me to being quite unwell. And this is how I met yoga. And then after doing 4 years yoga and having that kind of like mirror experience with my own body, and then I did my 200 hours, and that was just kind of like, and then I really saw that we have this potential for changing. And then I think then obviously yoga philosophy will blow your mind, and it's, for me, it's like the manual of the gift of our great ancestors, is the manual for all humans. And like, and that's how I started to sort of like looking for more growth, and then touching in my beliefs. And then like I even have to, because when you are a hairdresser you are meeting so many people, and they all come with their energy. And 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 this was kind of like what really made me be a hairdresser, because I got a job as a hairdresser without having any kind of formal education in Soho. So it was terrible, and I'm sorry to if anyone that I caught the hair at the time is watching us. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they gave me the job. They gave me the job, and I was there cutting hair. Obviously, I know where they gave me the job, because these people have prepay, and the owner didn't really care if they have hairdressers that were good or not. But I show up every day, and I can tell you, if you try, and I know many people has done this during lockdown, cut their own hair, cut someone else's hair, is a very difficult experience, because I remember my toes sweating, and making a straight line is definitely nothing easy. And it was just all really raw energy and so attractive, because I felt that everything was of a different language, was a language of truth. And I think with time I understood how to be present myself. I understood my own restrictions as a person. And the more I learn about myself, the more I can give to someone else that sits in my chair. And my intention is really to help someone to start a personal and unique relationship with themselves through their hair. And I always say, like, your hair is like your body. You may want to have really long legs, but if you have short legs, that's what you've been given. You can have heels, but they're not going to be comfortable for a long time. So it's exactly the same idea with the hair. So it's something that frame us, is aware, is something that we can feel, that support us in so many ways, because it can locate where we are. If someone is behind us, it can locate fire, like where eyelashes can actually give us information if we are getting close to something toxic. And our eyebrows are here to protect us from the sweat. And we have so much hair on top of our head, because the hard drive is inside. So this is kind of like a nice way of saying it, is protecting your precious computer here. And but also it has this plastic ability of define yourself. And I think for me that's kind of like what I understand, our hair can really assist us to define ourselves, to break, especially for women, and to break that barrier between like the stereotypical idea of the woman that spends the whole time of the hair salon, and the intellectual woman that never does anything to the hair. Because I will say that's like the falcon crest and this is quite old, but like the soap, you know, she wake up and it's just like the hair is amazing. It doesn't happen like, you know, like it has to be done by someone else or by yourself. So I think like waking up and having a good mirror diet, in where, you know, like I love to wake up and say the 7 things I'm proud of myself, the 7 things I forgive myself for, and the 7 things I compromise myself with, and the things I'm grateful. And you know, you can brush your teeth, you can put your cream, you can do something with your hair, make it part of these other garments that we use to define us, to take us into life, in and to self like send a message. But mostly what we need to understand is our hair is giving so much information about us. And the reality of if we're going back in evolution, is an animal that they have good fairy hair was a good mate, because you could find out is, you know, if they have access to food, if they were healthy, you could find out the status, you know, in the group. And we still do that, like, you know, a hair, we can manipulate it, but it still give that message about who we are. And I think anything that communicate outside communicate inside. So that's kind of like the connection that I made to of our exocrine body, which is our hormones, and how our hormones are really link it to our fight and flight, the way we respond to our experiences in life. So we we perceive life in a way, and that just create like a harmonic or not so harmonic inside, and that just transfer that value to our endocrine body, exocrine body, so our nails, our hair, and everything just have that value. This is the biochemistry of our life. So actually, when you touch your hair, or when I touch people's hair, I feel what they have been feeling, you know, because it's such a wonderful material. And I you see that a lot with babies, or people soothing themselves. And you know, it's a wonderful element. And I feel that, as much as I think the hairdressing is evolving and brought so many good things to many people, there's a heavy industrialization of it that is taking away the tool to use, and to talk differently about age, gender, race, and even to engage into very needy conversations about, you know, race, and you know, elements that can, you know, this is a unifying tool. Everyone around the world have hair, may not have them in the right places, but we all have it.
Well, there's two questions for me. One question is like, so you're talking about if you're not really carrying your real hair, is taking away from that actual natural signalization of what's happening around you, right? Is what you're referring to, I believe. And then the other question I have, so what if you are a person who doesn't have their natural hair available anymore for whatever reason, through some illnesses or some other effects, that they don't have these signals, and also not that access to the soothing of self, right? It's in a way also like a self-care, I would say. Is there anything that you know you can say about this, or is that something outside this?
I think what it is important is to understand who you are, and what is happening to you, and what it, you know, like, you not having the signal of the hair, and my hair is not, you know, I always find that this is quite curious. If you watch TV, you will see a lot of men with no hair, bald men in the news or whatever, like, you know, but you don't see women that don't have much hair. There's always this kind of like incredible shiny thing, like, you know, like, so I think what hair taught very much is about inclusion of a particular thing. You know, if you don't have hair, you still have a relationship of lacking your hair that need to be addressed. And I think that's the tool that you have to maneuver, you know, because yeah, I would love to have hair, you know, I always wanted to have like a massive afro and just like wake up and be like, but I don't. My hair is just like, it's like having, you know, it's like having a terrible partner that does whatever it wants, and I have to just have like, I did have hair loss when I was younger too, and I have to make a choice. I was like, this could be a fight forever, because, you know, like you know, my hair wasn't thick. I have like an opening. I have a crown here, which, you know, I'm very grateful for, because it's good to have a crown, but it's right in the corner of my head. So it was always self opening. And, you know, when you're a teenager, you just feel like really, you know, you are aware that that's happening there. The same if you have bad teeth, you know, and that modify. And I actually worked for a long time with hair replacement, and you know, people that have lost their hair for different reasons, especially men, and but also like hair extensions. And I, it fascinated me, that relationship that they have about having this hairpiece, and the confidence that brought to them. And some, you know, like hairpieces are tricky, but some of them really felt like, you know, like I will have conversation with people, oh, my wife doesn't know, and I was like, I doubt it, but you know, you play that game. But the point is like, why not? You know, like I think for, it's the same when right now there's, I think there's a big conversation about women and going, oh, I need to leave my hair gray. Why? Does it make you happy? If it doesn't make you happy, you don't have to do anything, especially not today, you know. But what you have to do is just to engage. So if you don't have the hair that you want to, and you need to engage with that conversation of yourself. Are you going to use it for, say, hate, or are you going to use it for a journey to compassion and to understand? And, you know, like, obviously, you know, there's a lot of people that lose their hair through cancer, and I believe there's more people right now that they are taking a bold statement and going out with the shaved heads, you know. So I think like slowly we are breaking those taboos, and it's, that's exactly what I mean. I don't, I remember Emily, which was a beautiful soul that left us too far too early. And I was doing her hair till the end, and she basically had like a bone issue, so she lost everything inside her mouth, and but she still have the hair. And I saw her a few weeks before she just actually fade completely, and her hair was important, and she wanted red, and she, you know, and she wanted a fringe, and she went, and and that's it. Why not? Like, it doesn't matter if it wasn't, you know, like it was more like how you accompany someone to feel comfortable, you know. It doesn't matter that it's not perfect. You know, what it matter is that you can live with it and feel okay, and not feel, not have a poisoned relationship with whatever it is, you know.
So you kind of saying you're using the hair as a gateway to feel more confident, to give yourself more self-care, and creating this relationship of self, but just as like you're just the part of helping with the hair, where other people maybe go to get exercise or a nutritionist or somewhere, and you're just the person that helps with people's hair and just makes them feel confident and, you know, feeling them as a whole person instead of voiding it, or like voiding another part of themselves, and then see, like, use the hair as helping that fill that gap. Is that how I can understand it, right? Or
Yeah, I think my ideal vision of a hair salon would be a hair place where you have your hairdressing, and then you have um, like a group of professionals that will go between, like, fascia release massage and dieties and, like, integrative medicine. So for me, it's just that kind of like the hair is the end result of transformation, because obviously if you are going to have some body work, or you're going to go to a dietist or someone like that, nutritionist, it's going to take a long time for you to see the end result. But what we can get with hair is we can get a quick step forward. So for me, is that kind of like, it's addressing that void that maybe the person have, and it's about like saying, all right, do you know what's your hair? Do you know what your hair can do for you? Can you tell me how your hair make you feel? What is it that, like, how we can get this up? And then I feel like, there's a lot of coaching that you can get into that conversation. I feel like hairdressers are speakers. We have like 8 times a day or 10 times a day an opportunity to speak with someone. So what we're going to choose to speak about, it's also the moment that you sit in front of a mirror with your wet hair and a gown. It's a very vulnerable space, and I like to just allow the true emotions come in. I know that people will go, oh, I trust you. I'm like, well, I like to win my trust, because at the end of the day, like, I know you have to trust me, because you have this hope. But at the end of the day, it's important that we build that trust. And yeah, like, I like to show my, like, allowing whatever it is present to be part of who they are at this moment. So no matter what is, even like, if someone is really nervous, or we can't really find out an outcome that we both agree with, then it's fine. They don't have to stay. I think it's that kind of like getting that. Tell me.
No, I can see now that it's like a full, like you're just one part of a bigger picture. You see the person as a project, let's say, right? We're a project of life. And your part is just this one aspect of our life, but the connection to inside. So in a way, if I related to the summit, is having heard Leah and Trish talk about their journey and how they do their work now, and where Trish is an embodiment coach, where she brings together, your outside with your inside, and where Leah is making you happy and free, also from the inside to the outside. And then we're having you here connecting it to tomorrow when we're talking about other parts of holistic healing. And so in bringing all these three things together, the today and tomorrow and your aspect of hair, it just has this completion of that one missing part where we neglected the importance of it, one, but also the profession of it, to not teach people the way of how we could perceive the importance of hairdressing, the importance of a salon, and that it's not just to cut your hair and make them like shorter again just because you haven't had the chance for 6 months, but actually see it more as an expression of self, not just because you enjoy dressing up or having your hair a certain way, but actually as an expression of how you feel on the inside. And if there is something missing on the inside, to not necessarily overshadow, but help you overcome maybe a part of you that still needs a little bit more work. That, let's talk about nutrition, right? That takes a little longer to see, that you can take an immediate action to say, hey, I achieved already something. I took care of my hair today, and this is going to help me move on and on this whole journey of project of self. That's kind of what I see you bringing to awareness today, and telling us, hey, listen, this might be a job you considered as less important or not as relevant, but here is the real story about hair, how we could look at it from a different angle.
That's a beautiful way of saying it. And definitely another thing is like a hairdresser is a community hub. So either they like have a team around them, or they have like people that are regulars, and then you had to understand that I don't know, like there's a colleague in the industry that she is really aware about mental illness, and she's actually bringing a subject which is cut the stigma, and she just her clients will go to her because they have difficulties, staying still or doing that. So again, like we all have this amazing quality of helping other person. And I think, like Leah was saying, she wanted people to feel confident, and she wanted people to feel confident because she wanted that journey for herself, and then she kind of like went into, oh yeah, like if I do this, or this person is doing that, or whatever. I think they both, Leah and Teresa, speak about like looking at other people, and which is part a fundamental part of learning, because I think that's what learning is. We look at other people and we see the values they have, and then we bring it with us. But I think in terms of hairdressing, there's always been the same values brought out, which are very sort of the superficial, which are very sort of like, I'm 15 and I have these 300 pounds of hair color and makeup on top of me. And then it's like, all right, like I get it. It's amazing. It's visually really good. There's a lot of craftsmanship, and I take my hat, because there's people that have incredible skills at doing hair. But how we translate that to the day to day, how we bring that, because I know you were kind of like wanting to talk with parents. How do we bring that? What does it mean, the hair done for a mother that have like 3 kids and a part-time job, and the last time she felt sexy was, you know before the first time she got pregnant. So what does hair mean for that person? You know what I mean? Like, and that's when you kind of like sit with someone and you can have a conversation about, what does it mean to you, what is it functional, what will work. And you can, maybe the haircut is not even important, but the way you reach a hand to that person and you make them feel like you care. And like I use massage, or I have, like, I think, breath work, or it's really important. Like I have, I'm thinking of this lovely man who came the other day, and he's been having hair long for a long time, but he, like many men I know, have uh, suffers of anxiety, and that came up very um, obvious as we were to do the hair. And we could have that conversation, and I could just say, well, actually, you're not. There's so many men, including my own, that have suffer anxiety, and that's kind of like an inherent value from all these generations of men who have a very strong idea of masculinity, who went through a lot of traumas, went through, and they can't really. So the hair and the haircut is a wonderful way of I'm following your eyes as a wonderful way
No,
of.
I'm yeah, sorry. There's a squirrel trying to figure out if it can attack me or not. So I'm being careful. I'm sorry.
Right.
Go ahead. Yes.
Like, I think that's it's a vehicle, it's a conversation. As I say, a hairdresser is a hub, is a teacher, is a provider of an experience. It's like, it's just to say, hey, I see you, I see you, and you're beautiful, and whatever, and whatever we can do to make that better. And I mean, I'm a migrant, so my community in the salon have really helped me through lots. I have incredible, valuable relationships, and I'm part of the ups and the lows and the breakups and the interviews, and that they are such a wonderful weaving thing, to have, like, to do someone's hair for 10 years and to see the kids growing, and to know what's going on into their lives. So it's actually that kind of idea too that I want people to get, that it is possible to create a community through hairdressing. And if I know that someone is selling a house and I know that someone wants to buy a house, I can put them in contact. And if I know that someone is looking for a flatmate and I know that someone working, I can do that too. So there's so much potential that is just not really like, give me the French and I'm just gonna, that's not what hairdressing is. And I feel that a lot of people that have this amazing look about themselves may feel really comfortable going to a salon, but I feel that the people that in comparison with those ideas do not feel like that, uh, definitely need to feel like that, because everyone is beautiful. Everyone have that right to feel beautiful, and that's the mission I want to pass on to hairdressers, but also to individuals, to reclaim yourself, reclaim your hair, reclaim your gray, reclaim whatever is it that you want to be. Enough of like, oh, I'm too old for having long hair, so what, like, like, oh, just changing your hair could change the way you see yourself, and doing it that with someone that you can have fun with can definitely be amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely a gateway. The hair can be a gateway to so many things, from not just yourself, but also the community around you, and create connections to your everydays. And so tomorrow we're actually talking about nature and nurture. And so this is exactly what it is, right? The hair is the natural thing that happens to us, and the nurture is how we create this community around us. So nurture doesn't happen naturally. We have to nurture it. We have to keep paying attention, keep being open, and receiving the connections from outside, and be willing to let go of whatever was in the past. I really love this third context of hair, the hair opening up to community and not just stay with the hair itself.
And hair and compost, I'm thinking, because I think I lost you there.
Say again.
No, I say, like, I'm just thinking of hair and compost, and actually when there was like oil spills, like I think in America there were like hairdressing salons that were giving the hair, because the hair was such an amazing tool to collection of that oil. So I don't know, like, like this I know that in the British Museum here there's like a piece of a weaving a piece of really old, I don't know if it's Azteca, made with hair. So, like, your hair define you. You can find a piece of hair and will incriminate you into a crime scene. But also, it contained your whole information about who you are, about how you have been eating, about how, so, like, it's just really magical. And the more that you are connected with it, the more that you accept it, and the more that you play with it, then the better tools you have.
Exploration all the way.
Correct.
Get on the adventure now.
But it's good to have someone that help you, like, that's another thing. I feel like, sometimes it's like I have people that will come to me and it's like, I want this, and then I want everyone say layers, because everyone knows or think that they know what layers mean. But layers could be anything from one of those horrible, well, not horrible, but like from a mullet to to many things, like, so, or like when people say, I want it short, and then the short that they see is here, and for hairdressers the short that we see maybe here, or like really short. So I think it is important also to create that relationship with the person that you're going to be, and to have those conversations. And what I always say, you don't go to a restaurant and you say, I want to have a carbonara spaghetti, but I want them to be, without mushrooms, and I want you to use butter. So when you go to a hairdresser, ideally you want to just say, well, this is what I like or enjoy about my hair. And like, this is how kind of like I see myself. Ideally use a picture of someone that looks like you a little bit. don't go with don't go with a picture of someone that have nothing to do with you, but like with a feeling, with something that is a feeling, that things that inspire. It doesn't have to be someone on Instagram. It can be, like something that provide a feeling, or and let the professional just sort of like get inspired and say, well, I see it this way or not. And then that's where the fun is there, because then you like, and sometimes like we will be doing the same thing, but then like I could be talking hours with, sometimes with some of my friends in the salon. It's like the haircut, that's not relevant. It's just like, oh my god, like this has happened to me and that, and then we just con the last one, because like that we haven't seen each other for a while, so we need to catch up. And that's also very nurturous.
Yes, it is. It's the communication I can hear out of this, that we need to increase and be specific but open-minded to change. That you might come in with a picture, but you definitely might not leave like that picture. You're gonna leave as you.
Hopefully no, because I'll be worried. I know that in America, there's places. I think I heard of someone who have the hair done in Texas, and definitely they hang out like in a very particular way. So like you need to look at your postcode, and I think I'm very grateful that here in London, um, we all value our identity, and no one really pay that much attention just still. So I feel people hair is very unique. It's not so much like you know confined like perhaps in Spain or in different places. And then it also changed, like I have like women who work in law, or who are judges, um, and there's that whole other language of what is professional, but I have to say my lawyers and my judges have curly hair, natural hair, and they're super professional. So again, breaking molds and taboos, and I think that's really important.
Well, Eva, this was amazing. I think we've learned a lot about what hair can do for things we never thought they would do anything. And so this was really a great insight. I've never thought I would learn so much in less than an hour. And it's definitely something to consider and to really open our eyes and minds that not everything we see is the way it seems. There is so many different ways we can perceive information. There's so many different ways we can turn and twist things around to make it our own. And I think you clearly have found this path through hair, not knowing that this is going to be your mission probably 10, 20 years ago, I don't think, or however long you've been in London. That's more of the question here. But I'm sure that this has been quite a journey for yourself, and something that you have. I can only see great things in the future, because there is nothing out there I've ever heard, and or to at least not to this extent. And having a place where you get everything from nutrition, exercise, care for your facials and hair at the same place, I think there's a good chance people want to go there. And so in the time we're in right now, this will be a great place, probably with masks on, but definitely a place we can
Actually,
envision.
no mask rule, no mask rule. I mean, people, whatever make us feel healthy at this moment. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Well, Eva, thank you so much for your insight. Is there anything else that you wanted to share? Please feel free. It's up to you.
I just want to say that really enjoy your beauty, enjoy who you are, because you know we are transcended. And especially whatever you do with your self-image, and do it through self-love and compassion, and especially use that journey to help other people do the same journey. So especially to everyone who is lucky enough to be alive and to keep growing and to get gray hair and to go with receding hairlines and even hair loss, I'm really interested. I want to get Tobias to have a conversation with me about what it means losing the hair. We need to start teaching people where are the skills to really find that beauty and to feel attractive. And that's the message. You know, we use your house as a place of joy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eva. This was wonderful. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yes.